No one grows up without carrying a very natural belief. If we are kind, work hard, and avoid doing wrong, then life will treat us kindly in return. It sounds reasonable, yet once people step into the real world, many discover that reality is very different. Some people deceive others and still become wealthy. Some are selfish and still earn respect and opportunities. Meanwhile, those who live honestly often face one hardship after another. It is this gap between what we expect and what actually happens that gives rise to an unsettled mind. The feeling of unfairness rarely comes from looking at our own circumstances alone. More often, it appears when we compare ourselves with others. We see someone with weaker morals achieving success more quickly, while someone who is sincere ends up paying the price. Instantly, comparison takes root in the heart. Then the familiar questions arise. Why me? Why do they have what I don't? The more we search for answers through emotion alone, the deeper our suffering becomes. The Buddha taught in the Dhammapada, "Mind precedes all things." These words remind us that the source of suffering does not lie entirely in the outside world. It begins with the way the mind perceives what is happening. When the mind insists that life must unfold according to its wishes, anything that goes against those wishes easily becomes a cause of distress. The truth is, life has never promised to reward good people immediately or punish those who do wrong without delay. That promise exists only in human expectation. Once we make that expectation the standard by which we judge everything, disappointment naturally follows whenever reality fails to meet it. The more tightly we cling to the belief that we deserve only good things, the harder it becomes to accept what we do not want. Many people do not suffer most because they lose money, lose a job, or experience failure. What hurts them more deeply is the feeling that they have been treated unfairly. They believe that after trying so hard, the outcome should have been different. But life does not move according to any individual's feelings. It does not change simply because we believe we have earned a reward. Someone may spend years living with honesty and kindness, yet still be betrayed. Another may lie again and again, yet continue to be trusted. Seeing this, many people conclude that being a good person is pointless. It is at that very moment that resentment begins to grow. They no longer feel disappointed only in people. They gradually become disappointed in life itself. Throughout the Sayukta Agama, the Buddha repeatedly emphasized that every feeling arises and passes away, and that all phenomena are constantly changing. Without understanding this truth, people naturally try to hold on to what is pleasant while pushing away everything unpleasant. It is this resistance to reality that causes suffering to last far longer than the circumstances themselves. People often believe that if they can control enough things, life will become fairer. Yet the harder we try to control what lies beyond our power, the more exhausted the mind becomes. We cannot decide how others will treat us, nor can we force the world to follow our wishes. The only thing we truly have the power to change is how we respond to whatever life brings. Sometimes what wounds us is not another person's words, but the story we keep telling ourselves. We repeat over and over that we have been treated unfairly, that others are luckier, that life is somehow against us. Every time those thoughts return, they deepen the wound within, even though the situation outside may have changed long ago. The Buddha never denied that life contains things we do not want. In fact, his teaching begins by facing the truth of suffering directly. But he also made it clear that if we insist on finding a world that is perfectly fair before allowing ourselves to be at peace, that peace will always remain out of reach. Life has never operated according to the wishes of any one person. Many people spend enormous amounts of energy asking why something happened to them, yet spend very little time observing how their own minds are responding. And it is that response that truly determines the depth of suffering. Two people may go through the very same hardship, yet the one who turns inward with awareness will suffer far less than the one who sees only the unfairness of the situation. In the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha taught that we should not cling to appearances or fixed notions. When the mind holds tightly to the idea that life must always be fair, it unknowingly creates a rigid mold. Whenever reality fails to fit that mold, the mind immediately gives rise to resistance, anger, and disappointment. The habit of comparing ourselves with others makes unfairness seem to exist everywhere. We notice another person's success, but fail to see the struggles they endured along the way. We focus on what we lack while forgetting the blessings we already have. As long as our eyes are always turned outward, measuring gains and losses against others, inner peace will drift farther and farther away. Not everyone realizes that the greater our expectations, the greater our potential disappointment. This does not mean giving up on dreams or abandoning a good life. It means learning not to make our expectations the condition for our happiness. When we stop demanding that life fulfill every desire, the mind gains the space to remain calm, even in difficult times. The deepest source of human suffering is not that life is always unfair. It is that, deep within, we believe life must be fair to us. That belief causes the mind to become disturbed whenever reality takes a different path. Only when we recognize this attachment at its root do we begin to understand the Buddha's teaching. Suffering does not arise only from what happens to us, but also from the way the mind clings to what it wants. Before we go any further, we need to change the way we understand the idea of fairness. Buddhism does not deny that people experience suffering or happiness, but neither does it explain everything as an immediate reward or punishment. Life does not operate like a courtroom handing down judgments every single day. What happens today is often the result of countless causes and conditions that have been building for a long time, far more than our ordinary eyes can ever see. The Buddha taught in the Sayukta Agama that when this exists, that comes to be. When this arises, that arises. This is the principle of dependent origination. Nothing comes into existence completely on its own. Every outcome is shaped by countless causes and conditions coming together. Because we cannot see the whole process, we easily conclude that life is favoring someone else. A seed planted in the ground cannot sprout simply because the one who planted it is impatient. It needs time, fertile soil, water, sunlight, and many other conditions. Life is no different. Some of our efforts today may not bear fruit right away, not because they are meaningless, but because the necessary conditions are still coming together. Those who lack patience often mistake this waiting period for unfairness. Many people see another person's success, but they only see the final chapter of the story. Few notice the quiet years of perseverance, the repeated failures, or the opportunities that appeared at just the right moment. It is like looking at a great tree. We admire its lush green branches, yet we never see the roots that have been silently growing beneath the earth for years. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha emphasized that each person is the owner of their own karma. This does not mean that every result appears immediately. Some actions bear fruit quickly, while others take a long time before their effects become visible. Karma does not unfold according to human impatience. It follows its own natural law. Many people give up simply because they do not see results soon enough. They begin to believe that living with kindness brings no real benefit, while those who rely on deceit seem to move ahead more quickly. But if we judge an entire life by observing only a brief moment of it, our conclusion will always be incomplete. One thing we easily forget is that we can only see the present, while the causes behind the present may have begun long ago. Imagine a river. The water flowing before your eyes is only a small part of a journey that started far upstream. If you looked at just one stretch of that river and claimed to understand its entire course, you would certainly overlook countless things. The Buddha did not encourage people to spend their lives trying to uncover the reason behind every event that happens to them. What matters far more is understanding that every action we take today is becoming a cause for tomorrow. Once we realize this, our attention shifts away from blaming the past and toward the way we choose to live in the present. Many people expect life to respond immediately. They believe that if they do one good deed today, something good should happen tomorrow, but nature has never worked that way. Spring does not arrive simply because we wish it would come sooner. Fruit does not ripen just because the gardener has run out of patience. Karma also needs time for the right conditions to mature before its results can appear. Many discourses in the Majjhima Nikaya encourage us to observe reality as it truly is, rather than forcing it to match what we wish it to be. When we understand the principle of causes and conditions, we stop asking why life is unfair and begin asking what kind of seeds we are planting for the future. A negative thought repeated day after day is also a seed. A kind word is a seed. An act of helping another person is a seed as well. Not every seed sprouts before our eyes, but that does not mean it has disappeared. It is simply waiting for the right conditions to reveal its natural result. Nothing happens entirely by chance. A meeting, an opportunity, a hardship, or even a parting comes into being through many conditions crossing paths. Some of those conditions we can see, while many others lie beyond our ability to observe. Because we cannot see the whole picture, we often mistake natural law for mere coincidence. When we truly understand causes and conditions, a sense of calm begins to arise. We are no longer anxious when success comes slowly, nor overly proud when it arrives early. Every result continues to change as new causes are created through the choices we make each day. Nothing remains fixed forever. What the Buddha encouraged us to practice was not sitting back and waiting for karma to hand us a reward. It was continuing to live rightly even when we could not yet see the results. A person who understands causes and conditions does not let their good actions depend on whether others treat them fairly. They choose goodness because they know it is a seed worth planting. Perfect fairness may not reveal itself in this very moment, and many events in life may still be difficult to understand. Yet, according to the Buddha's teaching, karma has never overlooked a single seed. The wisest path is not to spend a lifetime judging whether life is fair or unfair, but to keep planting wholesome causes so that the future can gradually unfold in a more peaceful and wholesome direction. Peace does not come from life finally unfolding exactly the way we want it to. It comes when we stop demanding that life reshape itself to match our wishes. Once something has happened, it has happened. The more we resist reality, the more exhausted the mind becomes. The more honestly we face what is, the lighter the heart begins to feel. Many people live as though they are waiting for the day when everything finally becomes fair before allowing themselves to be at peace. But life has never worked that way. Some things are right, some are wrong. Some people gain, while others lose. If our peace depends on the world becoming different, then peace will always remain far away. Acceptance is not surrender. Acceptance means stopping ourselves from tearing open a wound that can no longer be undone. Those who understand this no longer waste their energy endlessly complaining about the same circumstances. They see clearly what is happening, where they stand, and what they can still do next. In the Buddha's teachings, seeing reality clearly has always been more important than dreaming of a different reality. As long as the mind clings to the thought that things must be different, it will never truly rest. But when the mind is willing to see life exactly as it is, a small space begins to open. And within that space, peace quietly begins. Some losses look like failures, but they are simply doors that have closed. Some things leave our lives and bring great pain, yet because of them, we finally stop, look within, and realize what we have been clinging to for far too long. Not everything we lose is something taken away from us. Sometimes, it is simply something that has reached the end of its place in our lives. Not every success deserves to be called a victory. In reality, many people achieve everything they once wanted, only to lose their peace, their health, their relationships, or even themselves along the way. Outwardly, everything may appear perfect, while inwardly they feel empty. The Buddha taught that what truly matters is not having more, but carrying less. Comparison is one of the most common habits, especially in a world shaped by social media and the lives we see others living. Yet the more we compare, the heavier the mind becomes. Someone else moves ahead faster, has more, or receives greater attention, and suddenly we feel as though we are falling behind. In truth, much of that suffering comes from measuring our own lives against someone else's. When we stop comparing, something remarkable happens. The mind can finally breathe. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because we are no longer forcing ourselves to either win or lose against everything around us. Every person walks a different path. Once we truly understand that, we stop competing inside our own minds and stop wasting so much precious energy. Holding on to resentment turns one pain into two. The first is what actually happened. The second is the story we keep repeating in our minds every single day. Eventually, a wise person no longer keeps asking, "Why did this happen to me?" Instead, they ask, "What is in front of me now, and what is the right thing to do?" In the Dhammapada, the Buddha reminds us that the mind comes before every action. When the mind is filled with anger, our words and actions easily lose their direction. But when resentment begins to fade, wisdom quietly appears. Not the kind of wisdom that feels distant or mysterious, but the simple ability to see ordinary situations with greater clarity and a heart that is no longer pulled in every direction. True peace is not a feeling of constant happiness. It is the ability to remain steady even when things cannot be fixed right away. A person with inner freedom does not need every answer to arrive immediately. They simply refuse to let frustration take control of their entire day. That alone changes everything. Many people believe that the more control they have, the safer they will feel. Yet, reality often proves the opposite. The tighter we try to hold on, the more exhausted we become. The more we insist that everything must follow the order we have created, the more disappointment we invite. Letting go of control does not mean giving up. It means letting go of the illusion that we can control everything. From the Buddhist perspective, inner freedom does not come from life offering us better circumstances. It comes from the mind no longer being dragged around by difficult circumstances. That is the moment when our inner state is no longer determined by every change happening outside us. Things still happen, but the mind no longer collapses with them. When we stop demanding that life be fair according to our own expectations, we begin to live more honestly. There is less pretending within ourselves, fewer invisible demands, and less pressure to be better than everyone else. What remains is a simple stillness, quiet, genuine, and deeply real. It is that truth which nourishes lasting peace. The Buddha taught us to look deeply into suffering so that we may be free from it, not to run away from it through comforting illusions. That is why peace is not found in a perfect life. It is found when the mind stops resisting reality. When that happens, inner freedom arises naturally. Life may still be unfair. There will still be things that are difficult to accept, moments of loss, and painful inequalities. But those who have learned to see clearly, accept wisely, and let go of comparison will no longer be carried away by every storm of life. At that point, peace is no longer a gift from the outside world. It becomes the quiet strength we cultivate and protect from within.